All right. So a very warm good afternoon or good evening, depending upon the time zone you're in. And my name is Kuldeep. I'm the senior strategist at an Alito Automation, and I'm very happy and delighted to welcome our panelist today. We have three amazing individuals of working in the field of retail and e-commerce in different verticals, and they're going to share some amazing insights and stories about their brand that one can learn from. Without further ado, let me make a formal introduction of our panelist. First, we have on the panel is Martin Deely. Martin is the co-founder and president at Jacaranda Living, based out of Massachusetts. Martin has been a corporate growth leader and entrepreneur, and having founded and successfully sold 13 diverse startups uh, in the last 35 years. And his present company, Jacaranda Living, is a wholesale company specializing in gift items made by talented people in South Africa and various other countries around the world. And their company's mission is to open new markets in North America to help support and improve the quality of life for the talented producers who work in different countries. And currently, they supply to a national network of 3,500 plus North American and global gift stores through different business channels. Martin, welcome to the panel. Glad to have you.
Thanks for that fletching introduction.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great. Let me quickly go to now Roy. Roy Kitchener is the president at Ultimate 3D Printing Store, and it is one of his current company, 3D Printing Store, is the largest 3D printing stores in US, and they have all types of 3D printers and parts available on their store. And their goal is to help and promote and educate capabilities of 3D printing to the world. And is doing some amazing work in the field of 3D printing, and they have been able to help a lot of institutions and individuals through their 3D printing store. We'll to know more about what Rai is doing and how he's kind of building a niche for their brand. Roy, welcome to the panel.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Next, we have on the panel is Dean Wegner. Dean is the founder and CEO at Authentically American, based out of Tennessee. And they have built an iconic American brand that is truly American made. And they partner with businesses of all sizes, colleges and high school, charities and nonprofits by providing them high quality co-branded made in USA apparel and merchandise that is competitively priced, and they do a lot of amazing work for charity by donating 10% of their profits to veteran and first responder focused charities. Dean, glad to have you today on the panel. Welcome to the panel discussion.
Honored to be a guest, Kuldeep. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Let me begin and start with this first question is around the world had changed. We are living in turbulent times, and how you as brand owners look up to. The last 1 year has been challenging, but this year is going to be full of opportunities. So how are you gearing up for it? And what is your grand vision for the next 5 years? Let me begin with Roy.
Yes, so currently we are getting ready to implement a new operating system, I guess you would say, called Deer Systems. It's a logistical software, but it connects from logistics to our e-commerce store, to our accounting software. And we're looking to implement this within the next 8 weeks. That will allow us to do double, triple the business that we're doing now, and be able to actually handle it and have the infrastructure in place to be able to handle being able to grow. So we have that. We're currently working in conjunction with getting this system in place. After that, we're looking at launching a new website, and then after that, launching several other sites. So a total of probably 6 sites within the next 12 to 18 months to expand and grow our brand.
Wow, that's excellent, excellent vision, and more power to you. I think technology is an enabler, and you are kind of figuring it out and connecting the dots and to grow. And that's the best way. Amazing. Good to hear that. Thank you, Roy. Let me quickly go to Dean. Dean, what's in it for you for the next 1 year, next 5 years?
Well, Kuldeep, first of all, coming off of 2020 and a global pandemic and being a small business, I mean, we're thankful to be here right now and just actually survive, because it was not easy.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing we're doing is we're just remaining true and steadfast to who we are, and that's being a veteran-owned, American-made premium apparel brand. And it was challenging, as was for most small businesses last year. But the silver lining for us, now that we're coming out of the global pandemic, is now more than ever, Americans are actively seeking American-made products. And last year just reinforced my strong belief in the American worker, because we manufacture in 12 states across the US, and a lot of them were operating at reduced capacity, but they stepped up in a big way to make sure that we continue to have amazing American-made product. And the headwind we have last year is now in an incredible tailwind, and we're taking off in a big way. And similar to Roy, I mean, we are using this now as an opportunity to upgrade our system. So we have a whole new order and inventory management system that's going to enable us to more than double our business this year and continue that trend for the next 5 years or more.
Wow, amazing. So you're gearing up for the accelerated demand and making sure that you have everything in place and kind of taking learnings from last year and working towards it. It's great, team, amazing. Let me quickly go to Martin as well and hear about his vision for the next 5 years and how is he gearing up for it.
It's nice hearing from both Roy and Dean on that. It's wonderful to have come through this incredible pandemic, which is unprecedented. And we've all got strategies and plans, and this comes along and kind of, you got to pivot and you got to figure out which way you're going to go and what needs to change. We started off trying to help people living in less fortunate circumstances than ourselves, and because they're very talented people, and we bring in stuff from all over the world, and we focused on the wholesale trade, all the gift stores around the country. And then with legislation coming out with the pandemic, they were instructed to close. And it wasn't about them wanting to close, they just had to. And it really had an incredible impact on us initially. But we pivoted, and I've made an e-commerce site which was doing quite well. But we did two things. We right at the beginning, when this was coming out, we panicked a little bit, and we brought in a bunch of inventory so that we were not stopped in all our shipments and things. And so we brought in a ton of stuff. And then I hyper focused on upgrading the website and our B2C business. We wanted to do that without disrupting our wholesale business. So our pricing is not competing with our wholesale trade. There are about 4,500 stores, in fact, that we supply. And it was a remarkable success, really, because selling B2C on this new upgraded and revamped website, instead of us being down during the pandemic when everything closed, our online business went up 246%, and which was phenomenal. We ended up during a pandemic overall being being 40% up on our previous year, which was actually a good year. So it really took quite a lot of effort and a lot of teamwork to get it there. But we're here to tell the story.
Interesting. That's a good. So you converted. I mean, you found a way. That's the best thing. I think you pivoted. You managed to keep things moving, and you make sure that you are kind of adapting to the change. Excellent.
Well, exactly, because people were not going into stores, and we had to
Yeah,
support the online presence.
true.
And online really has been an incredible change in this
Hmm.
pandemic, which will last with us for a very long time, forever.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think digital world has definitely helped the entire global world to survive, because I think the digital economy kept on running when the physi- physical retail came to a standstill. And yes, the between the demand and supply, demand definitely might have taken a little bit of hit because of everything not moving, travel stop, people not buying stuff, but still the digital world has helped in keeping things moving. And I think e-commerce is such a great enabler. And I think in the next 5 years, we are going to see a ton of disruption. And as you guys are utilizing more new technologies, upgrade your inventory systems and all, this is a great way to be ready for the future. Moving forward, my next question is around consumers. How, let's say now that the demand is going to come in, what is the trend that you have noticed in your individual businesses in terms of retention? Have you been able to retain your customers, or have you seen some kind of churn? If you can share some insights on that, that would be great. Let me go to Ryan. Uh, Ryan, yeah.
Yeah, so in regards to the customers, yes, I mean we're definitely retaining the customers and in focusing heavily on, you know, not meeting their expectations but exceeding them. And
Mm,
and that's what we all look to do in business is, you know, the number one thing is taking care of the customer. I think more importantly, I guess you would say right now it's the demand.
mm,
For the first time ever since COVID, I'm actually having more of a problem getting merchandise. I actually didn't have problems getting it from around the world, even when COVID was going on. But it
mm,
seems now we're definitely seeing, you know, some issues with being able to get from our suppliers,
mm,
especially I bring in stuff from Taiwan,
mhm.
and they're being actually, you know, hit with COVID now, and we're seeing some issues there. So supply and demand is being affected in my business for the first time, believe it or not, since the pandemic, in certain areas, and then other areas were okay. But as far as, you know, the demand, that's the scary thing, is the demand for me is actually there. I just want to be able to actually provide
Mhm.
the customer the product. So it's literally you know, working out all the kinks to be able to provide that to them. I think we're, you
Mm.
know, we're going to we had a phenomenal last year during the retail holiday season, Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So
Yeah.
it's really starting to think about those things now. I mean, I know we're only in June, but it's getting prepared for that wave that's going to come, and being able to put a plan in action to be able to, you know, to handle everything then.
Wow, what a good problem to have for a business where you have demand in place, and the only thing that you have to think about now is supply and how to get it to the consumers. Excellent, I think. But I think that's a good problem to have, and it can be solved again by planning and strategy. So excellent, right? Amazing. How about you, Dean? How was the trend for you in terms of retention? Definitely, you are getting ready, gearing up. So, your thoughts?
Deep, I'll reinforce this point that absolutely one of our primary focuses is building those loyal lifetime customers. We
Mm-hmm.
don't want them just ordering once or twice. We want them for an entire lifetime. And just to give everybody who's tuning in some context, so there's three segments to our business. So there's our own consumer brand, which has our own vintage US flag branding, similar to what I'm wearing right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's the collegiate license side. So whether it's my alma mater of West Point or Alabama, we have a fast growing, collegiate license business. And
Mm-hmm.
then we also have a client, more of a B2B focus. So if you're a company, if you're a charity, any organization that's buying a t-shirt or polo or hat with their company logo, we now provide an American made option. So a lot of what we do is e-commerce focused. And a lot of times people first become aware of us,
Uh-huh.
because we're American made. and only 3% of the apparel in the US is made in the US. So that is the first, eye-catching statistic that people hear. But nobody buys from us just because we're American made. We have to deliver an amazing product experience. But what we found the key is to retaining our customers is providing that world-class customer service. And that is really highlighted most on the client side of our business. So if you're a business, if you're a charity, you have a trade show, for example, or you have a national sales meeting, and you're outfitting your entire team, and we ensure that everything is absolutely to your specification. We ensure that it's there on time, exactly as ordered. They can sleep well and worry about everything else they have to worry about their trade shows. So we've really found across all areas of our business, providing that world-class customer service is so critical to building those long-term lifetime customers.
Excellent. That's a great insight, Dean, that you shared, like how customer service plays an important role in retention and how it can be a force in making sure that a happy customer definitely shares your brand and talks about it. And I think that those delightful moments, I think consumers want that experience. I think it's the best thing the brand can do. Focus on customer service, and great things can happen. Amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Martin, how about you? Definitely, you're doing a lot of B2B and you started doing B2C as well. How is your experience in terms of retention?
Yeah, Kuldeep, I think Roy and Dean really nailed it. The customer retention is, you spend a lot of money getting a customer, digital and all the stuff that we do.
Yeah.
But unless you're really wowing the experience and going that extra mile, we focus on this wow experience by not just supplying them on time and doing all the sort of standard basic stuff. We kind of like humanize the relationship, and we get beyond just being an e-commerce business that is supplying people. There are little handwritten notes that go out with things, and we acknowledge their previous order and thank you for, I hope you enjoyed this item that you got 3 or 6 months ago, and this will be compatible with that. Little things. I know it takes a lot of extra time and man hours to do it, but it's extraordinary the feedback that we're getting, how people feel connected with us.
Wow.
And so we monitor, the customer experience is primo, it's number one, and they come first. And if it doesn't work for you, send it back and we'll exchange it or we'll refund you. We take that trust very seriously, and we deliver on the promise in every possible way that we can.
Wonderful.
So and we monitor it by doing all these reviews. These are public reviews that get posted through Trustpilot on our website, and they are real, and we get rated with stars. And if we don't get a 5 out of 5, there's something very wrong with us if we get a 4. So customer service, customer attention, it's not negotiable.
That's a very, very interesting insight that you shared, like getting those handwritten notes to the consumers post-purchase and how they can truly create that moment of delight for the consumers and how it can make a big difference in their subsequent purchases. I think most of the time it's often an overlooked thing because of the size and scale of the business. But if any business is able to constantly do that, wow, great things can happen. That's a great insight for any growth stage business or early stage business in e-commerce and retail. Excellent insight. Now my next question for all of you is around marketing. Marketing is evolving, and you have so many channels to deal with. You already know who your target audience is, and you want to have a dialogue with them. And your online store is a place where the consumers are interacting with you. But post that, you have your email, you have your Facebook page, you have your Twitter channel, LinkedIn page, YouTube channel. These are all different channels. So how do you manage the communication across the channels in order to make sure that you're keeping your consumers updated about the products that you have, or making sure that they know what they're going to get and whatever things are the brand is doing for them? What are some of the things? What are your thoughts on it? How are you doing that communication effectively across all the channels? Roy, if you can share something on that.
Yeah, I mean the first thing is, I guess the word is you're trying to be effective. So I don't think there's anybody an expert at it, because as just I'm in 3D printing, the world is changing, and marketing's changing in a daily rate, a fast rate. You know, new social media channels are coming out, like, you know, just like we know, like TikTok and Clubhouse are some of the newest ones. Definitely Clubhouse has taken a vast pull. It's, you know, you have as owning a business, especially an e-commerce business, you have A or B. You have A, you can go with an outside marketing agency, or B, you can bring it in-house. With us, because of our technology, and again, there's no school for 3D printing. I mean, everybody here that works for me is self-taught. I mean, this is a new technology that's evolving in the world. So we do B, you know, we do it in-house. So we have a marketing and e-commerce department, and it's a lot of strategy. It's a lot of literally becoming a subject matter expert in certain ways. I mean, you're talking about platforms, so we're Shopify Plus. Just all the connects to Shopify Plus is literally, I mean, it's one person literally nonstop becoming a subject matter expert on Shopify Plus. Then you move to somebody that is doing Google AdWords, remarketing, Facebook and Instagram marketing. Adrolls.com is a new one. So you have, you know, you have those things. You have, you know, your social media. So it's really getting, you know, your email marketing, which we use Klaviyo, which I definitely think is one of the best. In conjunction, you know, with Klaviyo, we use AirCall, and which is a new phone system that we're implementing that pulls up all the customers' information, all their orders. We use Gorgeous, which is a new customer service platform. These things have been implemented, you know, in very short amount of time. We didn't have them before, and we're putting them in. A lot of it is literally, you know, having a group, like I said, an e-commerce and marketing group there, and in defining roles, and really paying attention to, you know, what's going on in the marketplace and what can help you. Like I said, to hit them all is impossible, but you really want to, you know, define which areas you believe that will give you a return on investment, and really tone in on those things. I definitely think, you know, one of the best things, and we've already talked about it, is your current customer. Taking care of them and remarketing to them is by far a tremendous strategy that I recommend any e-commerce store does. You know, if you're you know, that's like you said, email marketing, different things like that. But you're also, it's very expensive to get a customer. So you definitely, once you get them, you want to do everything right to keep them. So it's definitely that, but it's, I'm not going to tell you that you're not going to hire somebody that knows it all. It's not going to happen. It's a very challenging obstacle.
Absolutely. And you said it rightly, Roy. It's like, with all these platforms, it's not difficult. So you definitely need to have people who understand different platform, and then they're able to do the right things in order to make sure that your brand story is getting conveyed. And definitely it takes some time to do that. And it's a creative job. It's where a lot of thought process goes in, and ultimately so that the consumers can have the maximum brand recall. And like, when you have a lot of products on your store, you need to think about how your visitors are able to find the products in the least possible time, or because most of the time, bringing a visitor to the site is easy by showing an ad. But after they come to the site, if they don't find the right product in the least possible time, it's so easy for them to close the tab and move forward. And we have seen tremendous amount of data and insights where we have seen if 100 visitors are coming, uh, hardly one or two or three or four people will buy, depending on the conversion rate. And that conversion rate can be gradually improved through personalization by understanding or implementing the right tools and technologies, because that's what Amazon is doing, that's what as Netflix is doing, or any big brand out there which is doing. So I think you said it rightly, and that's a great
I
insight.
definitely agree with you.
Yeah.
I mean, to push it a little bit further, I would definitely say,
Yeah.
pay attention. Pay attention to what you're doing, and as you grow, have your budget grow, and
Yes.
have the department grow, and make sure that you have the, like you said, you're always growing. I mean, it's gonna be vital in e-commerce to do that. Now, me, I'm a little bit different, my type of store, because you're correct. We have several brands. So a lot of what we do too is we leverage the manufacturers to assist us, because again, we believe here at Ultimate 3D Printing Store that we've tested the brands that we have and we stand behind them.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be selling it if we hadn't thoroughly gone through it and believed to back it. But we actually get a lot of support from the manufacturers, especially in this new technology, in this new world, to help get that out. So we do leverage them, and get incentives and different things from them, to help us grow as well. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely challenging. I will not tell you that tomorrow a new social media thing's going to pop up, and you got to get to learn it. You got to have somebody that is that person in the company always paying attention.
Absolutely. You have to evolve, you have to be flexible, you have to be agile, and that's how e-commerce is. It's like from a desktop side, you have to have a mobile side, then if you are possible, you need to have a mobile application ultimately to help the consumers. I think right, you said it rightly. Let me go to Dean as well and hear about his thoughts on how he's managing marketing and connecting with his consumers across different channels.
So, Kuldeep, let me ask you this question. You remember that movie, Field of Dreams? Yep. So that whole mantra behind that movie was build it and they will come. And we actually employ the reverse mantra, because we are a 4-year-old startup. 4 years ago, we started with a blank sheet of paper. So very few people know who we are. And I'll give you a real world example. So I mentioned we're in the collegiate licensing business. So our newest addition is Alabama. So we have the #1 collegiate license in Alabama. And I wish, Kuldeep, we were all here in person, because you could see and feel and touch this shirt and feel how incredibly soft it is. We only use a water-based ink because we want it to be soft. A lot of people in their closets have a closet full of shirts, and it has that heavy plastisol ink. So on a hot summer's day, it sticks to your chest. And we have our new sweat activated print innovation. So if you're an Alabama fan, what you often hear them yell is "Roll Tide." And here's what happens when you sweat. You can see that Roll Tide appears, and on the back, this is where legends are made. And I highlight this, Kuldeep, because people say, Dean, forget where it's made. It's just amazing product. But here's the problem. Without social media, without marketing, back to the anti-Field of Dreams, nobody even knows about this. So for example, on Facebook, Instagram, there's nearly 5 million fanatical Alabama fans. And this is not going to appeal to everybody, but using some of the demographics out there, we can find out not only who's a fanatical Alabama fan, but who prefers more of a fit and healthy, active lifestyle, that this would appeal to them. And then, to Martine's point earlier, I mean, it's expensive to get a customer, first of all, but once we have them, we use the same email platform that's Roy using around Klaviyo. Once we have them, they've experienced our product, seen firsthand the amazing product, then we can start to cultivate that relationship. Then we can use that email software and the amazing capability there to go ahead and do that. And we're now just starting to test SMS, some text marketing. It's really to cultivate that relationship. So it's expensive to get them, but since we have amazing product, then we can really start to build that relationship with them.
Wonderful. That's a great innovation, I must say, Dean, and which can ultimately appeal to the target audience that you have. And I think all these little things, attention to detail and constantly innovating and thinking ahead of time for consumers can really help the brand. And I think you are in the business for 4 years, so I can't say you are in a growth stage. You should say that now, and more power to you. I think it's just a matter of time before people start to realize how your brand is different from others, or it's not you're not just selling a t-shirt, or you're selling that experience and the story behind it, what the brand stands for. So amazing. I'm really happy to know these innovations
Yeah.
are
And
there.
just
Amazing.
to reinforce, Kuldeep,
Mm.
because we lead with product.
Mhm,
But what I love is when somebody experiences it and said, wow, it's an incredibly soft t-shirt, the technology, wow, it's so innovative. But
yeah.
then what happens? They look at the tag
Mhm,
and they see that it's American made. Then they go to our website, authenticallyamerican.us. They learn the ethos and the story behind our brand.
mhm.
That's when we really have an opportunity to captivate them and really become their new favorite brand. But we
Absolutely.
lead with product and then we cultivate that relationship with all the technology we talked about.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the best way. I mean, uh, it's what they say, it's allowing the consumers to feel it. I think the experience. I think you have several touch points where we can provide that experience.
Mhm.
And I think it's so easy these days to do that. Maybe on your store, maybe on your social channels, or maybe through your video content that you have. Ultimately, consumers may not be knowing the entire backstory about your brand, but if conveyed in the right fashion, great things can happen. Amazing thing, Dean, you have brought in there. Excellent. Let me go to Martin also. And Martin, you are also doing something very, very creative with your brand, with the products that you have, and from where you're getting them, and how it is impacting and helping the communities across the globe. So, what are some of the things you are doing in order to convey that story? If you can
Well,
share a few thoughts.
I'm just a simple thinking guy because it gets down to little basic elements,
Mm,
and it's really there are so many elements,
yeah.
but it's really everything that you are, everything that you do, everything that you say,
Hmm.
and everything that you promise.
Mm,
It's the brand, stupid.
yeah.
Don't forget that.
Yeah.
You know, unfortunately, it's a very unforgiving market. You can do a lot of things right,
Yeah.
but you can get one thing wrong in any of these deliveries, and it's a blemish on the badge.
Which channels do you prefer to engage with your consumers currently?
Well, we've got a lot of different channels. So we um, we try to be consistent with all those key elements that I was trying to talk about: behavior, trust, and reliability.
Hmm.
But you need to share it both in your digital work, and the digital work is, of course, Facebook and all the Google ads and the whatever
Hmm.
that we do. But it's the consistency of the message,
Yeah.
of the face,
Hmm.
of the badge, and
Yeah.
everything that you do. So when we do a lot of digital stuff, and we've got a team that does this, and we've got we got 5,000 SKUs, so
Hmm.
we've got to be quite careful about what we do and how
Hmm.
we talk about everything in all different categories
Uh-huh.
across the board.
Hmm.
But we go to trade shows.
Yeah.
We've got this face that comes across digitally, and brochures and emails and all the newsletters and the things that we put out there, what's new and all that. And everything has to be bang on target. It has to
Yeah.
be consistent. It's got to
Hmm.
be the same colors. It's got to
Yeah.
be the same font. It's got to
Hmm.
be a consistent thing. So when we show up
Hmm.
to reconnect with people,
Hmm.
we believe that is a really important part of what we do. We try and personalize it. And a lot of our clients have actually become very good friends. We spend a lot of our time on trade shows where
Hmm.
people go and we can face to face with them and touch and feel. They can touch and feel the products, and
Hmm.
we can experience them.
Hmm.
And it's so we do a lot of that. And
Wow.
so the communication is quite impersonal, just sending emails, but we try and make it as personal as possible.
Hmm.
And the content of the message that we send out, we try and make very personal. so that we're connecting with people that call us and they phone us and they say, we miss you. And anyway, it's been a difficult time because trade shows really haven't been on in the last year, but they're starting to pick up. So social and digital marketing is critically important. And we've got multiple different messages through the different channels that we serve. One's B2B, one's B2C. Then, of course, you've got the Amazons and the houses and the Wayfairs and all those other guys. And but we try and create the same image and the same messaging with everybody.
Great. That's a great insight for any brand also that Martin just mentioned is around. It can be unique strategy. I think what works for brand A may not work for brand B. So you have to figure out on your own what works for you and then try it and use it. And ultimately, every channel has its own significance. And if one is able to utilize that channel really well, great things can happen. Moving forward, my next question that comes to my mind uh, is basically the evolution of consumer behavior. Consumers' attention span is getting reduced day by day because of the influx of information that gets provided to them, right? So you currently, now that things are online, your e-commerce store is that one place where they interact with you, where they interact with your brand. So how do you make sure that uh, when a consumer comes on your store, you definitely have your product pages filled with the right information, but have you noticed some areas where even after providing all the information, the consumers are not going for that final checkout? Have you noticed any barrier, or does consumer have like came back to you and ask you, hey, I was looking for this, but I haven't got this? And how do you tackle these kind of problems? Definitely, not every consumer will come and ask for that, but have you came across such situations? Because this is extremely important that the consumers come and ask you for that. Roy, any thoughts on that?
I mean, definitely the, as far as, a consumer, I mean, a lot of it you won't see currently on the site we have now, but the new one that we're building, I mean, it has a lot of them, it goes by page speed. How fast your site is one of the biggest things that, we've done a lot of research on. It goes by, the ease of what they're trying to find. And a lot of that, we're installing an artificial intelligence module that we spent an enormous amount of money on, because again, most of them, they're trying to find. I mean, they're literally trying to find something and they want to find it as quick as possible. And that's where I said that, optimizing your page speed, having, the correct menus, having the correct, search terms, is really, really vital. And then it comes into play is like when they go and a product's out of stock. I mean, literally we allow them to put in an email address and we notify them the second it's back in stock. We definitely on top of that is basically it comes into remarketing them, paying attention, abandoned carts. That's where I said like Klaviyo is very good for that. Behavioral, looking at heat maps, seeing exactly what the customer's doing on the site, knowing where to place stuff on the site. And that really comes down to, like you said, heat map tracking, really studying and looking at what customers are doing and where they're going on your site, and then using those areas. Most people think like the front page, but believe it or not, it's only a certain amount of the front page that they're seeing. So that is your most important area and the most important content, but you need to know that. I mean, you need to look at, the beautiful thing about e-commerce is the data is there. So pay attention to the data, and always be looking at it, and always, be the more data driven you have. I can tell you, I mean, us as an organization, we just hired a business analysis guy that really pays attention to data. And the first couple things he did, I mean, wow, wow, I almost fell on the ground just seeing the data that he has put together and seeing the trends and understanding what it is. And again, I looked at, and I'm just being honest with you, I looked at business analysis and I was like, what is that? And what do I need it for? And it didn't really understand the terminology and what that person does. And now it is, I wish the first thing I did when I opened my company was hire that guy. Let me put it to you that way. So that's really how helpful it is, from shipping costs to, I mean, just taking the data and breaking it down saves you enormous, gigantic amount of time, effort, and consideration and money, and being able to provide a better customer experience. If I could do anything again, like I said, I would literally go back and hire the guy that I have now as my business analysis guy.
Wonderful. So data is the new key. Data is the secret to getting those insights and actionable insights. And when you have that data, it's like consumers have already told you what they want, where they are from, what they are looking for. And if you are able to take all those actionable insights and take all those actions around it, great things can happen. That's a great insight that Roy you shared. That's what they call data-driven decision making these days. And I think because you have a ton of data on your store, on your logistics backend, on your shipping backend. So if you are able to make sense out of it, you can really help your brand growth.
And to elaborate a little bit more, I mean, yes, it is there, but a lot of it is what is commonly used, and it's not directly for your business. And that's where I say having that person is invaluable, because they're actually combining some of that data together in the different systems. And the only way you could do that is either hire a programmer to do custom APIs, but you don't really need, I found that having him, he can cross a lot of those barriers together and really give us a lot of data that is going to help us grow tremendously in the next 5 years.
Wonderful. That's amazing. I think more power to you, because I think you have finally understood the importance and kind of you are working in that direction. And I think more data, I think because what's happening, the world is evolving and the amount of data that is getting generated is huge. I mean, you can just utilize, even if you are able to utilize 50, 60, 70% of the data, you can get tremendous actionable insights. Amazing, right?
And then please understand, please understand one more thing, and this is gigantic and huge, is the data is used on our side, but we do not share that data. Like, that is the biggest thing. Customer privacy is gigantic. So yes, it's used internally, but there's never a time we would ever, put, where a customer's data would be used with a third party. We do not share data. It's completely private, but it's, yes, I mean, data driven nowadays in e-commerce is there. But a big thing that, we just did a lot of research on is really customers don't want you to share that data, and that is extremely important to them. And in the better job you do of protecting their privacy, the longer you're gonna have that customer, it makes a very big difference.
Absolutely. You said it rightly. Let me go to Dean quickly and hear about his thoughts on how he is doing things.
Kuldeep, you highlight a big challenge, because there is so much going on in the world of social media and technology. And, people have always had their phones and they're getting calls and texts, but, then there was Facebook, and then there were stories added to that. And then there was Instagram, and now there's Snapchat, and now there's TikTok. I mean, it just goes on and on. So to play out that real world example I was using before, so if we got somebody who saw this Alabama Roll Tide sweat activated tee, they hook them, and then they come in, they're getting ready to place an order, and then somebody sends them a text message, or they send them a TikTok video, and then they forget about it, and then they've got to go and they move off. I mean, they forgot about it, because then they're bombarded with all kinds of other messages. And this is the power of data that Roy reinforced, and this is the power of technology that you're highlighting, because we can use Klaviyo, and we can go ahead and use that abandoned cart email to go back and follow up with them. And we found people are so appreciative when they get that little nudge and that reminder. And then once they make a purchase, when we have that data, we can use those algorithms and if-then logic, because we found that if somebody, really likes this and they pick this in their basket, they may like socks, they may like a polo, or there are different things that we can use. So it's all once we get them in there and we understand and how they're going to purchase, their patterns and behaviors, we can go ahead and start to cultivate and use that relationship. But it is really challenging right now with so many social media platforms and so many distractions out there to really get people through all the way to purchase and continue to maintain that relationship in the right way. And I think the other one that we're starting to experiment with now, we haven't really used yet, is the whole SMS marketing. And we are using that only as an opt-in because we don't want people to feel like we're invading their privacy. But we found people do want to be notified that way. That's their primary vehicle for being communicated with. So that's the new one that we're starting to experiment with.
Wonderful. Absolutely. You said it rightly, that how those gentle nudges, that interaction, and if you are able to uh, kind of engage with the consumers at those certain points, how it can make a big difference. And SNS, absolutely. I think all the channels have their own significance. And if you are able to do step by step on each channel, great things can happen. I think over the years, I think more channels are going to come. And I think there has been a trend that is going on right now, which is voice as a channel, and which allows people to have engaged like conversation. Like you can just say, "Hey Siri" on your phone, and you can type and you can send message. So the same things can, this is what they call it's conversational commerce, where you don't even need to type something to search. You can have a mic button in the search box, and then you can just click on it and say it aloud, the product name or what you're looking for, and that product comes in front of you. So that's just, this is how the technology is evolving. And I think consumers are also evolving. And I think each technology is an enabler. Ultimately, consumers are someone who are the beneficiary of this amazing thing. Let me go to Martin also. And Martin, which channel do you think, like you mentioned, you are doing some amazing things by keeping messaging and marketing personal. That's amazing. Like for you, what is that one challenge that you have identified for your business that you're trying to fix or that you're trying to improve upon?
Yeah, we do have a lot of SKUs, and I think that's one problem. But the other one is the client has limited time.
Yeah.
And when they come to your site or they talk to you or whatever, they want to cut to the quick and figure it out, what they need. They need you to answer what they need in many different ways.
Yeah.
Sometimes people know what they need and can find it, but they're pretty unforgiving in the process. So in the structure of the website, we really minimize our text and we maximize our imagery. And we do things like the abandoned cart that you talk about. And I think that people appreciate, oh, thank you for doing this. And you reminded me, I did forget about it. And the abandoned cart and all the little things that are available. We do spend quite a bit of time on setting up our related products on the site to simplify the search, the upsells of products. You might also like this if you're looking at that, and the cross sells. So you've got the upsells, the cross sells, the related products. We work a lot on that, but I do know that Enalito is a master at this because they've actually automated the process of structure across a website, and Enalito is a pretty good leader in their fields of mastering this dynamic cart thing and dynamic product association thing. And it's extraordinary where web development is actually going.
Yeah.
And I admire the work that is being done by Enalito, and it's fascinating to see. But at the end of the day, if you've got all this traffic coming through from all these different places, it does get back to the data. And the data is the data. Absolutely. And it's the real evidence and it's the facts. So what do you understand about the data? That's one thing. But what are you going to do with it is even more important.
Absolutely.
So it's a mix of many different things.
Wonderful. That's a great answer, I must say, Martin, because uh, I think consumers are, whenever they are interacting with your store, they're telling you something that they are interested in this product and they are not interested in that. So, and same is the case when we go to a physical store, absolutely, like we already know what we want to buy and we are searching for it. But most of the time, the product might be there, but we don't find it. And then we come out empty handed. And then the physical stores say they don't have the conversion. So there are a lot of the challenges, not just in offline world, but online world. And I think they can be solved with a lot of available tools. And I think when we look at a store, we look at two most important dimensions, consumer and product. And then within those dimensions, how many sub behaviors you can understand. Ultimately, you cannot do it manually. And that's where you have to allow algorithms to figure it out for you and let the whole experience get personalized. And it has its own advantages, ultimately serving the end consumers. So with that, this is an amazing panel discussion, gentlemen, we have today. And I would really like to take this opportunity to say thank you for sharing those amazing insights like what Dean has touched upon about this amazing innovation that he has brought to his business and how it's going to play a pivotal role in his brand growth, and how Martin has touched upon how he's keeping that messaging personal by sending out that handwritten note to their customers, or when they're going to a trade show, what are some of the things that they're doing, and how Roy is doing some amazing work in kind of deciphering the data that they have by having the right personnel who can understand and make sense out of that data to get all those actionable insights, and how they are gearing up for that accelerated demand that is going to come. And it's a big opportunity. I think the next few years are going to have phenomenal disruption in terms of technology, with augmented reality, virtual reality becoming mainstream for the world of retail, where, for example, if someone wants to buy a 3D printer from Roy, just imagine an augmented reality allowing a consumer to see how that augmented reality, like using that for a smartphone, they'll be able to experience that 3D printer at their environment, at their own home, and how tutorials can be built around it. The entire product information can come out of thin air. So these are amazing innovations that are happening. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of, like the learning curve is there, but it's going to happen sooner or later. So with this, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today on the panel. And it was great. I think your insights are going to really inspire a lot of entrepreneurs, existing businesses, someone who wants to start a business, where they need to start with. And we would love to host you again, maybe on some other topic, some other important aspect of business. And thank you so much once again. Thank you, Dean, for taking out time. Thank you, Martin. Thank you, Rai. Looking forward to speak with you again.
We're honored to be part of it, Kuldeep. Thank you for including us.
Thank you, Martin.
Nice to meet you
Thank you
guys.
very much.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.